Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our monthly Strong Readers Call. I'm Deanne Jones. I'm the project director for Strong Readers here in the state of Oklahoma. Today I have with me Classy Nolan. It's one of our Heroes Literacy team, and Megan Ashbaugh as well. And I am going to copy and paste the agenda into our chat right now. If you want to have the agenda pulled up, get that into the chat. There we go. And once we get everyone out of the waiting room now. Yep, I think so. We will go ahead and get started. Let me get my screen shared. Well, don't let me share it yet. Okay, sorry about that. Got that done. So here is our agenda for today. Welcome to February, Valentine's week. I know that might be a little exciting fun for you guys at the end of the week with your kiddos. We're going to start off first with our presentation by, actually, do I want to do that? Yeah. I'm going to start off first with Classy Nolan. She is our literacy hero, and we're going to have her give us a little professional development on syntax. So Classy, I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen and so that you can. There you go. So Classy, you can share your screen and start with you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to share some information today about syntax. As Deanne said, I am part of the Heroes Literacy team, and our mission is to help elevate reading outcomes for every student. Here are some of the initiatives that we work with our schools. But to start off today's session, I want to take us all the way back to Scarborough's reading rope. We know that for our students to be a skilled reader, they must be strong in word recognition and language comprehension. We spend a lot of time in word recognition, but today I want us to take our focus and change it from the bottom strands of the rope to that top strand, those top strands of the rope with language comprehension. Specifically syntax. Syntax and sentence structure play a vital role in weaving skilled reading. So what is syntax? Well, syntax is how words are arranged to form sentences. And understanding syntax will help our students comprehend a text and also help them write effectively. Syntax also supports oral language development with all of our students. So the key elements of syntax are combining those words, phrases, clauses, and then arranging them into in a more meaningful way. Every language has an arrangement of how words should be ordered. And syntax enables a reader to understand complex sentence structure, and it aids a writer in communicating their ideas clearly. So I want to use this image to illustrate how syntax plays a critical role, and it serves as a bridge here. Let's start with the left-hand side where we have oral language. Here, our students are learning to communicate through speaking and listening. This happens early on. At this stage, they're still developing those foundational rules of grammar, sentence structure, and word order. But children are doing this through a natural spoken way through those interactions of having conversations. When our children are speaking, they're processing syntax in real time. And so this is often more intuitive, but it's still a key part of their language development. Now, let's move over to the right side of that bridge. Here we see written language, both reading and writing. So as our students transition to writing, they need to understand how to structure sentences properly and also how to use appropriate grammar. The skills they developed in speaking will directly influence how well they can read and write. Syntax, right here in the middle, is going to be the vehicle that helps students move from the left side of the bridge over to the right side. So they're moving from speaking to being able to write with clarity and accuracy. Without strong syntax, even our skilled readers and writers may struggle to express themselves clearly. So this is why supporting syntax in oral language is so crucial. It is laying that foundation for students successfully using syntax in reading and writing. Now, I want us to start with those sentence structures because this is what our students will be hearing. We know simple sentence has one idea, one subject, one verb. Someone or something is doing something. It's the easiest form of sentence structure for our students to learn. Then we have a compound sentence, which allows us to connect two related ideas. Now, when we are beginning to teach compound sentences, we also want to have that direct instruction of coordinating conjunctions or fanboys, as we use in our, as a mnemonic. With compound sentences, we know that each part could stand alone as its own simple sentence, and it's just joined by that contraction. Then we have our most complex sentence or most difficult sentence, which is that complex sentence. A complex sentence requires our students to recognize that one clause, that dependent clause, cannot stand alone. So it has a subordinating conjunction like because in front, and it's telling us that this beginning information is not as important as what's coming after it. Because the dog barked. Okay, what about it? What happened? The cat ran away. Now, I want you to think about the texts that are being used in your classroom. Do those texts contain a variety of sentence structures? We want our students hearing all sentence structures when we are reading aloud. When we are speaking, we tend to use simple sentence structures, so we need to be providing those opportunities for our students to hear those compound and complex sentences that are found in text. Now, I want to share some different activities that you can use in your classrooms to support syntax. And we're going to start off with sentence construction. So we know that we have some students, they have absolutely no trouble at all expressing their thoughts, whether verbally or in writing. But we do have those students that need some help to get started. We also have our English language learners. They may need some additional support in sentence construction. So we could utilize sentence stems or starters to help those students get started with creating those sentences. The first thing we want to do is model what this looks like for our students by filling in the blank for them. My favorite food is, but I want to model that for them. I'm not just going to write the words. I also need to make sure that when I do this, I'm practicing out loud, verbally, and also in writing. And then I could ask my students some feedback on it. Now, when beginning, it's okay if our students just simply fill in the blank when they first start using this. We could also provide all of our students with a list of sentence stems that they can use during discussions or when they're writing. This also helps keep them on task. Now, for those students that are fluent with writing or speaking, this may not be necessary, but again, it's always helpful for them to have them on hand. We could give a handout, or we could post an anchor chart for our students to refer back to. Another activity that we could use in our classroom is combining sentences. This helps our students develop fluency, complexity, and also cohesion in writing. And this is also a great activity to help our students revise those run-ons and fragments. So when we are teaching sentence combining, we're going to ask our students to take 2 or more short related sentences and merge them into one longer, more meaningful sentence. For example, Burr Rabbit likes fish. Burr Raccoon likes frogs. Usually our students want to start off with that and. We've taught and, but now I want to teach them how to use a different conjunction. Burr Rabbit likes fish, but Burr Raccoon likes frogs. Another activity that you can do is sentence expansion, where we are having our students add words or phrases to sentences because they've answered in really short sentences. And so we could ask them to answer some questions like, well, when did that happen? Where did that happen? Why did that happen? How did that happen? This example here comes from the writing revolution. I always tell my students, writing is like a baked potato. If you're giving me the foundation of it, you're giving me the baked potato, and you're giving me some salt, pepper, and some butter on it. I want you to really give me a good baked potato with lots of things on it. Add some chicken strips. Throw me a little gravy. I like cheese on mine. They always like to have that little analogy or example. So starting with our younger students, we can use this base sentence, the dog napped, and add on some questions. Which dog napped? What color was the dog? The brown dog napped. The brown dog napped where? The brown dog napped on the couch. The lazy, or what do we know about the brown dog that napped on the couch? What did he do? How can we describe him? Oh, he was lazy. The lazy brown dog napped on the couch. Well, when did this happen? The lazy brown dog napped on the couch while I read a book. A couple of other resources and tools that you can utilize are sentence builder charts. Here is a simple sentence builder chart for a 2-part. You can start off with our younger students, kindergarten students, and who or what is it about and what did they do? Then we could move them into the 3-part sentence builder chart. Who or what did they do? And then who received the action, the who or what, where, when, and how. And again, these 2-part and 3-part sentence builder charts are great for kindergarten through 2nd grade students. So we would want to utilize these with our younger students. With our older students, we want them to expand their ideas. We can ask how many or what kind, who or what, action what, and then, adding in some adverbs. And of course, those adverbs may come at the beginning. And so we could have some conversations about how to utilize that. And of course, I would model this as well. So I would use the extended sentence builder chart for grades 3 and up. Now, I also want to take a moment to talk about cohesive ties, because this is where we're referring to words and phrases that connect to different parts of a sentence or passage. So we're thinking of conjunctions, pronouns, and also transitions. These elements help make our thoughts clearer and more logical, and this enables us to convey meaning effectively. We don't always say the person's name, the character's name. We refer to them as him, her, they. But what if you have more than one boy? So there's more than one him. Which him or he is that pronoun referring to? Sometimes our students can get confused with that. And so we want to support them and make sure that we go back and have conversations and talk about the text to help them make those cohesive ties stick together. Now, another opportunity that we can use, and this really comes in handy when we're reading text. We talked about a lot about sentence creation and writing, but now we want to look at the process of breaking down a complex sentence into parts so that our students understand how it works. This particular sentence, it's a long run-on sentence, right? But it's the very first page of the text, Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day by Judith Foist. This is one of my favorite books to have on hand when we're having a bad day, myself or my students. I'm pulling this text out and we're going to have some conversations. Not only am I teaching my students to break the sentence down into those meaningful chunks, but I'm supporting their reading comprehension. So they're learning to identify patterns in the sentence structure, and this helps them process more complex text. We also are supporting vocabulary acquisition when students are encountering words in context. So I have this long sentence, but now we can practice breaking it down, and because that sentence had multiple ideas, and so we can break it down into manageable chunks. What happened first? I went to sleep with gum in my mouth. What happened when I woke up? Now there's gum in my hair. I got out of bed this morning. What happened when he got out of bed? I tripped on the skateboard. Then we know that he made a mistake. What was the mistake he made? He dropped his sweater in the sink while the water was running. And right then, after that terrible wake up time, he knew it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. That's a lot for a student, K through 2, even 3 or 4, to take all of that information. Look at all of the cause and effect that we could teach in just this first page. Now, I just want to share a few books. These are some children's books that model strong language and varied sentence structures that can be used for oral syntax activities, sentence expansion, and also sentence combining. Thank you, Deanne, so much for allowing me to share today. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Get back to sharing my screen. Okay. So let's go on with our agenda. The next thing on our agenda is the intervention materials list update. So on our Strong Readers for Schools website, at the very bottom of the page, we have an Airtable with intervention materials. And we've talked about this list before. We did a RFI, we let vendors apply, and we reviewed and made this list. And then we have a place on our website that they can apply, and we review them once a year now. And so once a year we review these and we add new ones. We just did one in December and added these in the later part of January. So we added 11 new programs, and you can see here on the agenda the 11 that we added. And there they are listed, and I'm just going to go ahead and show you real quickly. I'll click into it. So on the Strong Readers for Schools page, it's at the very bottom, this Airtable, and we tried to put information on here to be helpful for you, where you can look to see what if it's direct instruction, if it's online type thing, what skills it addresses, its instructional tier, if it's tier 2 or 3. They had to at least address at least 2 or 3 to make our list. We didn't accept anything that's only tier 1 for the instructional tier. We have that, and then you can see what skills it addresses. So if you're looking for something, and you could look through here and say, we're needing something for phonics, then you can look quickly and see which ones address that. We have some recommended group size, how often you should meet, how long it should last. And we do have the approximate cost on here, but I would just caution you that this can change at any moment, and we try to keep up with it. And when I redo the reviews, I send things out to the vendors and say, hey, if you'd like me to update your cost, but just beware that, this is our approximate cost based on information that they've given us. And then we have, is training required? Now, that doesn't mean that they don't offer training. Some of them offer it, but then say you don't have to have a specific training for it, but we do have this. So if they put it that way, we put no. But if they say you have to have this for this, then we put yes. Is it available in Spanish? And then maybe any extra notes that I thought were worth noting here. And then we tried to put a good contact name that you could email or phone number to get hold of the contact for these. So you will see that we have added 11 new ones. Also, if you have something you would like to see added to this list, you can invite a vendor. And this is, although we just conducted one, and so it would be, the next deadline would be October 31st. I need to change the date. It would be October 31st of 26. And then we'll review them again and post them in January of 27. They still can go ahead and do this form. I'll get these dates changed. But they can submit it anytime between now and October 1st. So if they want to go ahead and put it in, just while that you've given, you can go ahead and remind them, and they can go ahead and put it in, and it will just set in the box for us to do in October. So let me go back to the agenda. And I just want to do a reminder too, as well, that this is not an approved list. So districts are free to use your Strong Readers funds to purchase any intervention materials that you think best fit the needs of your students and staff. And this list is just meant to be guidance for you. You are not restricted to purchase only these intervention materials. This was just something that we felt we should do because we know it's a lot of work to review materials and to look at their research and all of their practices to see if it is best practice. So this is just something that we conducted research on these and reviewed all of them, and we had a team of people review them, so that if you're looking for something new and you maybe don't have the time or the capacity or the people to do all the research to determine if it is a high quality material, you could use this as guidance, but you are not restricted to only this. The next item we have, Classy, I guess I should ask, do you have any questions about the intervention materials?
Not currently.
Okay. Gonna move on then to summer school. So this is a question that's kind of been plaguing us for a while, is summer school funds. So if you'll think back to how we do have some stuff in administrative rules about summer school and how many hours it has to be and how many weeks it has to be and how many days it has to be and all of those things for it to be what was called Summer Reading Academy. And we've had questions around if I don't do my summer school this way, but I'm calling it Jump Into Reading, or I don't know, Summer Reading Camp, whatever you're calling it, something different other than Summer Reading Academy, can I still spend Strong Readers money on it? And we've even had some conflicting advice on that. And just so just to get it all on board, I went and I've been having some questions from districts about, the upcoming summer and summer school. So I asked for a legal interpretation of it from our legal department here at OSDE. So they reviewed the law and the administrative rules, and this was what they came back with us for, is that summer reading programs must meet the minimum frequency and duration requirements that are set forth in administrative rules in order to be funded with Strong Readers money. So I have linked this right here where you can go in and actually look at that. But just a highlight of it is this: it has to be 4 weeks long for 3 hours a day for 4 days a week. So that is the way it's structured in administrative rules. So if your summer school or whatever summer learning experience is named at your school, if it is not meeting these requirements, you cannot use your Strong Readers funds to pay for it. So I just wanted to get that out there because that's been a very confusing question for districts, but as well as for us. And so we asked for that clarification for legal. So this would be our final ruling unless something changes with legislation. So any questions about summer school?
No questions about summer school, but there is one about Amira assessment. Will it be provided for us? Are you going to cover Amira a little later?
I am, but I can go ahead and answer that question. And this is kind
Okay.
of the same answer we've had for a while, is that we do plan on offering Amira. Right now, we have we signed a contract with Amira that has a 10-year option to renew, which means we were not guaranteeing that we would have it for 10 years, but we don't have to run another RFP for a screener. We can just renew for we would renew once a year for 10 years, up to 10 years. And we are still planning to continue that. The only question would be is funding. Is every year we just have to look at the funding and see if the funding is available. But we do think it will be available next year as well. We are planning on it being available.
We do have one question about summer school. Is it open to
Okay.
any grade?
You can offer your summer school for any grade. Our guidance for that has been that Strong Readers money is really meant for K-3. But since we do offer that ongoing intervention for those, 4th and 5th graders, you could use it for those kids as well. So really, I would say right now it'd be K-5 on summer school. I think once you get into middle school, that's a little a grayer of an area, but for sure we can say K-5 you could use for summer school. Okay. Let's go. I mentioned briefly legislation, like we'll see what happens with legislation. So we have lots going on bill-wise over in the Capitol right now related to education in general. There are many, many bills related to education in general, but specifically affecting strong readers. We have, what is that, 9?
There's 9.
9 bills. And really there are a couple more that I didn't list because they're strong readers, but it's only really affecting the heroes. It wouldn't be affecting other things. So I think if we counted those, there's really 11. But I listed the 9 that would directly change requirements for strong readers for schools. And so I went ahead and linked, if you're not familiar with how to track legislation, I want to just copy and paste a bill name. So we have Senate bills and House bills, and these are the ones that we have currently. So I'm just copying this first one. I'm going to show you Oklahoma Legislan. You can just Google OK Legiscan, but I'll go ahead and go into it. And this is how you search for it. You can see that I have literacy put in mine right now because I check these a lot. So if you type in literacy, it would pull up all of the bills that are currently up for consideration, and you can look at them. Now, I will say that it doesn't filter them by year. So it is putting the 26, like this one right here. This one was from 2025. So you do have to kind of watch the years on them, but this will filter them with that. And then you can see, if you click on a bill, you can follow where it is right now. And this right here will give you the last action. So this one right here was currently moved into the House Appropriations and Budget Subcommittee. And so if you click on these, I'm just going to click this one. Actually, I'm going to click a different one that's more related to strong readers. Let's do this one right here. If I click this one right here, I can see, Hicks was the author, and then I can go up here and the text. This is where I can see it was introduced. And if it had done other things, you would see those dates as well. But you can click on text and you can go right here, and then you could view the text as it was introduced right here. And if this goes on further, there would be links where you could see maybe it got edited or it got changed in the next committee, or it got past the Senate, went to the House, and then they did some edits on it. And you could see these. You'll notice that if they eliminated something from the language, they're just going to cross it out right here. If they add something new in, they underline it. So when you're looking at these, you would see crossed out was in the existing law, and they're taking that part out. Here they're replacing it with team members. So that's how you look things up. And then I'm just going to say these right here are the ones that we're watching, and just kind of a general overview. And I'll just, all these are a little different, and we don't know which one's going to pass, if any of them are going to pass. If they do pass, they may change the language of them before it actually makes it to the final step. So we are monitoring them, but I just want to kind of give a broad overview of the things that I'm seeing in these bills. And so that just, you will know these may be changes that might be coming, but we're not for sure yet. So one that is consistent through many of these is bringing back third grade retention. So that is expressly mentioned in multiple of these bills. And I do think that we will see that at least advance quite a ways. So that being said, each bill kind of does it a little different. Some of them have different, I think the good cause exemptions are pretty much in there, but those alternate pathways that we had before, they are not in many of these. And there might be one that put it basically the way it was before, but most of them have changed to more restrictive pathways where we would not have as many different pathways, or would only have one and then the good cause exemptions. So, but just know that that's a big piece that is definitely being looked at and would be being considered in a lot of these bills, is bringing back the third grade retention. There's one that even addresses some retention at other grade levels, but makes it where it is still optional for parents to decline. And so I can't remember what it said about second grade, but I know it specifically mentioned first and second grade, and then went to third grade. And I think it was like the parents could, you would meet and discuss, but the parents could ultimately say no in those first two grades, but then in third, they wouldn't have that option. So if you're interested and want to look through that, you can read and just see which bills address retention differently. Another one that is seen in a lot of them is the screener. And the way we have it in legislation right now, it says that we will approve no fewer than 3 screeners. So we just finished the RFI for next school year, and we approved 9 screeners. So because our law currently says we will approve no fewer than 3. Many of these bills are changing that language to no more than 3. So that means we would only pick 3 screeners. And then, which means that's going to limit your choices. And then there are a couple that say we will have 1 screener statewide. So depending on which one of these pass and which way they go with that, we may be having to redo our screener selection for next. And it's another thing is we don't know if it will be effective next year. Most of them say it will be effective next year, but they also could change that as well. So we don't know if that would go in effect. If it does pass, would it go into effect next school year, or they give us another year to get that implemented? Because we would have to run, if we're limiting to 3 or 1, we would have to, run that again and see which ones would make that. So that could be a big change for a lot of districts. Another thing that I'm seeing in multiple of them is expanding strong readers requirements to some of those upper grades. So right now, the way it's written, it's all of the requirements from K through 3. And then we have, for those students who were identified in 3rd, we give them some ongoing interventions, need to be on a slip, 4th and 5th grade. Some of these kind of have that way with the 4th and 5th. Some of it go all the way up through 8th grade. So that's just something we're going to be looking to see how we may be expanding strong readers requirements into some of those upper grade levels, just depending on which bill passes and which language they keep with it. Not as big of a change, but one thing I'm seeing is there's a few things where they would change some of the timelines for notifications of either the slip or the notice of proficiency. I don't think I really saw many on the reporting, but that could change as far as timeline. Right now we have a 30-day timeline to get the slip signed and in place after your screening. And currently we don't actually have it in legislation, a timeline for the notice of proficiency, but in our guidance, we say we recommend about a 30-day timeline on the notice of proficiency as well. And so those could be being adjusted if some of these bills that have that language pass. And another one that is in many of these and in some of those separate bills I talked about is extending our HEROES program. Our literacy coaches, currently we have spots for 15 literacy coaches, and that was a 3-year pilot program, so that is set to sunset this summer. And so many of these bills will be extending that to where it would be a more permanent program and not just be a pilot, just keeping those HEROES on board. And several of them have expanding how many HEROES we would employ. So that's another one that we're watching. So any questions popping up? I know that's a lot, and I know we're watching all of it, but any questions about that?
No questions so far.
Okay, I mean, because, right now it's all just, we have no guarantees, but these are things that may be coming. And just know that we're aware of them. We're already thinking through if some of these things do pass, what would we do? And if one of these do pass and it's changing a lot, I would definitely be working on, putting out the guidance and, updating our forms, updating our documents. That'd be my big summer project, and getting ready to present on those things at things and conferences that we do in the summer. I would definitely make some presentations about all the changes and making sure that everybody's aware of the changes, as well as I'm sure I would film one of them and post it if you're not able to come to one of the conferences. So just wanted to make you aware of some possible changes, but we're watching. Next thing, I always like to mention some professional development opportunities for you. And this first one is data-based individualization, DBI. And this is a student level data retreat. So this is tied in with our OKMTSS. And if you came to one of the OKMTSS conferences, they have hosted before a data retreat that was more of a system level data retreat. And now they're trying to focus on drilling down for like a 1 day to a student level data retreat. So that's what this is. And the intended audience for this would be people who are implementing those interventions. So that could be interventionists, general education teachers, special education teachers, reading specialists, whoever's doing that kind of work at your school. And we're going to have 3 of them. March 9th is going to be here in Oklahoma City, and it is going to actually be in our State Department building in room 215. And then on March 10th, we're going to be in McAlester. I don't know the actual location yet, but it will be somewhere in the McAlester area. And then on March 11th, we're going to be in the Tulsa area. Don't know the location exactly for that yet, but somewhere in the Tulsa area. It will be from 9 to 4, and the registration is already open for these. So if you click this, I linked the registration here. You can click that and you can go ahead and register. And there is on the, when you click that, there is a little sample of what the agenda would look like for that day, or at least the timeline for it. I will be there in person all 3 of these days, because when they're going through this data, they're going to have kind of student data for you, and they're going to lead you through of how to use this data and how to build this individualized instruction for your students. And the last section of the day is completing your slip and the requirements of the slip, and how to take this data and use what you're learning from your assessments to build the intervention plan. And so I will be there leading that section of the day at each of those locations. So if you want to join me, we will be there for this, and you can register right there. It's already open. Next, we have our Amira partners are doing an Oklahoma Partner Forum. They will be at 3 different locations, March 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They will be in Altus, and the 4th will be in Stillwater. I will be at that one in Stillwater. And then they will be in Tahlequah March 5th. I will be there on the Stillwater one, but on the Altus and the Tahlequah one, we have one of our Literacy Heroes team. Classy, you're going to be at Altus. Yeah, so Classy will be with them at Altus, and then we have a different one of our literacy team members that will be at the Tahlequah location. The registration link is open for that. And if you want to, here's the little flyer on it. I did go ahead with the link right here because, it's hard to do a QR code on here, but
Deanne,
there it is. And yes,
there is a question about this. Will the will the partner forums be online also? Some of them, for this particular person, each forum is more than 3 hours away for the time frame that they would have to be there.
That is a good question, and I want to say no to that. I can look into that further, but it doesn't say on this flyer that it would be. And I can ask if they can record just basically like their presentation, but I know from the ones I've been to before, like it was really like each person was sitting at their own laptop and they were getting into their own dashboard and following along. But I can ask on that, because I want to say no because it's not listed here, but I'm not positive about that. So if it is, we will definitely update this on our Amira website, and I will ask that information. And then the next thing here is also Amira related. Amira is doing another challenge. You know, in the fall, they did the football challenge, and now they've been doing the Winter Olympics challenge. And this is a link to the, I don't know if this is the registration. Yeah, I think this is the registration. Oh no, this is the flyer. So it actually, already started in January, but when we had the snow days, they added another week to it to try to make up for that. And so hopefully some of you are already starting this, and doing the challenge so that your students can get some incentives and prizes for doing their Amira work.
Deanne, there's one other question about the Amira Forum. The 2 sessions for each location, morning and afternoon, are they the same? Will it be the same
They
presentation?
are. Yes, it is the exact same.
Thank
So
you.
you would only need to come to one. Good question. Good question. We also have some of our, if you are one of our schools that are a recipient of the CLSD grants, there is, I think, a separate little section for you. You would come to one of those and they can get that with you, but you have a separate little hour that you would attend in addition to one of these sections if you were a CLSD school. But I'm sure that our CLSD grant people would be getting that information to you. And I have linked our next meeting will be March 10th. I will be in Stillwater that day for the before mentioned DBI training. So, but I will be able to step into a different room and still conduct our Strong Readers meeting from a different location. So I shouldn't have to change that meeting. I'll just be a little different area for me, but I'll be there and we'll still meet. As always, we do record these meetings and it will be posted later today. Usually I'll get it on YouTube tonight. Sometimes it usually takes a little bit longer to get it onto that link actually posted to our website, but hopefully I will get it up onto YouTube today. If you need to review anything or send it to someone who was not able to attend and maybe has some questions about something. Let me see if there's anything else in our chat. Any other question? Chat. Okay. I guess that's all we have for this week. So if you make it out to one of our DBI trainings or the Amira Forum, I will see you there. And if not, I will see you on here next month. Thank you for all the work. As always, thank you for all the work that you do with our young readers in Oklahoma. I am so appreciative of all of our teachers in our state. I was on a Strong Readers visit in a school yesterday, and it does my heart good to get back out into an actual classroom and to see kids working and teachers working with them and all the good learning going on in our state. So I appreciate you so much. Keep up all the good work and have a great day, everybody.